Almost every day I get an email from someone that says, is my person a narcissist? And then they write a whole entire email about the description of who they're with. Often, if it's that long and they've got all of these situations, it sure sounds like a narcissist, right? We aren't going to diagnose somebody, but we need to understand what they look like, how they act. And my guest today is Robin Bryman, who is the author of a new book called Bye Bye Narcissist: How to Identify, Understand, and Leave the Narcissist. And we're going to talk about the different signs, what to look for, how it feels, and maybe even the stages of narcissistic abuse and how it feels in those stages, because it's not the same. It is clearly, you're going to be so in love in the beginning and then so distraught in the end. So my name is Tracy Malone. I am the founder of NarcissistAbuseSupport.com. I'm an international coach. I coach people with narcissistic partners, and I help people through divorce because I am the author of Divorcing Your Narcissist. You can't make this shit up. And let's go welcome Robin and hear what she's got to say about how do I identify a narcissist, so that if you're one of those people about to send me an email to say, is this a narcissist? Listen to the video and you'll get the answers that you need. And then you start from there. So let's go meet Robin. Hi, Robin. Thank you so much for joining me.
Hi, Tracy. Thank you for having me.
I am so excited that you are here today. We are going to be talking about your new book called Bye Bye Narcissist. But let's just start by introducing you to my audience. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
I am a psychologist, and I've been doing this a long time, probably 30 years. I started with children, and then I came across a narcissist in my life. And since that time, with the healing that I did, I decided to make this one of my specialties as well. And I wanted to write a book because I've seen thousands and thousands of patients in my office who have gone through this. And I figured it might be really helpful to hear it from a psychologist. I'm the woman psychologist on the book, and then there's a male psychologist, my colleague, Dr. Fred Holtz. And we got together and said, let's do it, because he's been through the same experience that I had been through.
And you know what? The amazing thing is that people don't realize that a psychiatrist, psychologist can also get abused, right?
Yep. Usually
clients I've had that are psychologists are like, I should have known. How could I not know? Why didn't you know? And that's like an important part of just letting people understand that we can't know till we know, till they show themselves. So how did that happen for you?
How did I not know? I did not know because I took abnormal psych in school. I worked in Bellevue, which is one of the largest hospitals in New York City. I learned about personality disorders, but I never really thought that what would it be like to be victimized by a person like that. I was too trusting. Did I know? Honestly, my gut went off. It's almost like I knew, but I didn't know to trust my gut. Mm-hmm. And so that's what I didn't know.
Yeah. And
that's what I learned.
And again, when we're in love, and when it's coming on so strong and we have these feelings, it's hard to look beyond it and go, oh, let me analyze his behavior, or he's just being super, super nice, right? So it's common that therapists are actually really, really amazing targets because they bring that validation to, oh, if something wrong with it, wouldn't she have known? And you're like, it stirs up and makes them feel like they have protection because they're with someone with cred that would certainly know, so they I'm not that person, right? So they're using it to their advantage.
Right. And they're pretty bad people, and they pretty much know they're bad people. I know the word bad is not, demonic, or I could use so many words, but yes, we give them credibility. Oh, he can't be so bad, or she can't be so bad if we're with them. But
Yeah, it happens. It happens to everyone. So that's what I wanted to push that in there, not to belittle you for getting in this. We've all done it. I am a, 3-time loser here. I kept on. So once we see it, we can't unsee it. And for you
Yeah.
and I, we both went to the side of, I've got to help other people understand this. And that's why your book came in. So let's just start off with, for the audience, just a brief, what is a narcissist? Not necessarily the DSM-5, blah, 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 but how would you describe it if someone was in your office and the behaviors they were describing? How would you say this is narcissist?
That's a great question. So I think there's different levels. Somebody could have narcissistic traits. The people that we're talking about have full-blown personality disorder, and narcissistic personality disorder, NPD, falls on the cluster B continuum of personality disorder. And so what does that include? That includes sociopaths and psychopaths and borderline and narcissistic personality. And do they overlap in traits? Yes. But it's someone with a very predictable pattern of behavior. And it's almost, to me, it's like a spectrum. So once you're able to see the personality traits like the love bomb or the devaluation, the discard, the hoovering, you're almost able to predict what's going to happen and how to protect yourself. And they do prey on people who are empathic. I know that's a big, catchword now. Just kind people who are trusting and who have trouble setting boundaries. I think that's part of it.
Absolutely. And I think codependent caregivers, people pleasers are, again, favorite snack food for a narcissist, because they will forgive them, they will do for them, they will be their indentured slave and servant, right? So they have a specific type of person that they're looking for. But to me, one of the things we need to just kind of throw in here is there's many flavors of narcissist. So there's the grandiose narcissist, which I almost call flamboyant. You can see it. They want to be, they walk into a room, they take it over. It is their, their destiny to be that special person all the time. No one else can share their light. And if you have light, they steal it from you, right? But the covert narcissist is what I've had. And the covert narcissist is the soccer coach and the good guy and the, got the good person job. And these happen with females as well, right? I'm not just men mashing here. But it happens in all situations where people think they are the nicest person on earth until the door closes. And behind closed door is where all the abuse happens as they control that person. So for people who are out there trying to decide, please look at the different types. Again, we are just throwing in, the top level, overt and covert, but there's the malignant narcissist, there's the spiritual, there's so many different factors. And again, those traits all overlap. But if we don't know it and we just think, oh, we'll know it, that grandiose guy that comes in and, oh, I'm the best, and wants all that affirmation, but then we have this mild-mannered Clark Kent guy, we have to understand what is behind that if, we're seeing things that aren't true.
Right. And they are I think the mild-mannered Clark Kent covert narcissist can really get the flying monkeys and trick a lot of people because of their soft side and vulnerable victim side. They always have a sob story.
Always.
To me, they're much more dangerous in some ways.
I think so. I think because, again, the grandiose, we see it, we know what to expect, but
right.
We're fooled by someone because we think of all these wonderful virtues that they're presenting. We give them this automatic trust level. And that's where the danger comes. Like, we would be more cautious with somebody that was so flamboyantly needing attention. We would probably walk away from that a little bit easier because it's easier to see. But when they are that covert, they do so much more damage. And again, it's all woven into our friendships. It's woven into every possible part of our life. And everyone thinks they're the best thing. And so now you're beating public opinion to explain, no, this is what's really happening. And nobody.
Right. They think, oh, he's so nice. In the book, I refer to the covert narcissist as a spider, because you just never know when they're going to do something, and it's so passive aggressive, and they just jump and do it, and you don't even know what to expect.
Yeah, exactly. So in your book, and this is on page 4, I love this. And I first started like highlighting it, which is my mode of destroying books. I just like, "Arr!" And then I literally started writing, and I only did this for a couple. I like had a couple of my narcissists, I gave their first initial, and I'm like, mom, this X, that X. Oh, and then I was like, every single thing was for every single one of them. I was like trying to like differentiate, going, nah, that, and I'm like, no, every single thing in here. So the traits that you list in here obviously are no empathy, doesn't take responsibility, they're blamers. Do you have a book in front of you? You want to pull out a couple that are just a couple from this list that I think are so important. We talked about always playing the victim, right?
Oh yeah. The victim, the sob story that they use over and over, the fake crying, that was a big one. Just short-tempered, all of a sudden, they think differently. They see the world so differently than you do. I want people to understand that, like just a typical event, they'll look at it in a negative way. My friend once met this person and said, oh, he's a hater. They hate. They try to be neutral, but they really, when it comes down to it, they don't like people so much. They're jealous, envious. They don't like themselves. Obviously, they project. But let me see. So the traits: controlling, demeaning. They never apologize, or they'll say, I'm sorry, but the isolating is a big part of it, and they'll take your good traits and turn them around and make them negative traits. And the isolating is a big part of it. And they can't take criticism, jealous of other people's accomplishments. There's so many here.
I looked at the exaggerate achievements and talents, and
Yes.
all of my narcissists did that. They were all covert, but they all did that, where they're the best thing. They were salesmen selling me these lies, right? But I believed them without any proof or evidence, because I was the gullible, empathic codependent that was like, oh, how nice, you must be so special. They were fooling me and just pulling the wool over my eyes. But that exaggeration of who they are in contrast to what and how they perform is something we got to look at. My husband had a big corporate job, and we worked at the same company when I first met him. And oh boy, he's so special, he's a big director, and later to find out he couldn't write an email, and I became his personal secretary to respond to the other people. And I'm like, wait, are you the big executive but you can't write an email? Like, right. Nothing made sense, but that exaggeration of how special they were was what hooked me, until the reality set in and I realized that was all a lie.
Yeah, they lie about their educational achievement. It's a lot of smoke and mirrors. I remember I didn't even know his age after a while. It would just be, he was born one year, he was this age. So yes, they lie about everything. So I really believe that one thing that comes out of this that we could teach children, or preteens, or people that are in relationships, dating, watch somebody's actions, stop listening to words. Yeah, because there's so many words that suck you in. So, to me, that's a big part.
Right. If you think about stop falling for potential,
yeah.
Right? They've got such good potential. You know what? Call me when you've actually done one of those things.
Right. Yes, exactly. And that's where future faking comes in. If we're after potential, then future faking is a great tool for them.
To talk about future faking, because you just mentioned it, and I think people need to understand that, because that's part of the love bombing stage often. So the beginning of a relationship and the idealized factor is the love bombing. So talk to me about what you just said.
Future faking is talking about the future, and to the person that they're victimizing, it sounds fantastic. I mean, we're going to do this, and we're going to, travel here and buy a house here, and I'm going to be the head of this or that. And to them, it's almost like the joke's on you, because I'm just, future faking, and no one calls them out. We don't call them out on it, because it's like music to our ears. This is what we want to hear, but it's pretending about the future.
It
to
is
suck you in.
Often, and I find this, and you can validate with your clients as well, is we give them the script of what we're looking for.
Yes.
Then the future faking comes in, like, oh, I want to have 2 babies and a puppy. Oh, so do I. I mean, everything that we are giving them, and they're being very diligent in the beginning. They are pretty sharp on honing in on making us feel like they're hearing us, and they can give us what we're looking for. So I think for my clients who are giving them the score of here's what I want, and then they become it, that makes the future faking so much easier for them, because you've given them what your needs are. So, oh, I can do that. Oh, you want to move to Europe? Oh, we can do that. I've always wanted to go to Europe. Whatever it is, they're playing into your biggest desires because we gave them the script.
Right. And they can be very savvy about, just to expand on that, they can be very savvy about that, about the future faking part, because let's just say someone wants a baby in the relationship. The woman wants a baby, the man is the narcissist or has narcissistic personality disorder. He can say, and you're going to have and he doesn't want children, and he doesn't want it put on him. So she can say, he can say to her, and you're going to have beautiful babies, but it doesn't mean with him. So when this happens and she's left with a kid, he can say, I never wanted to be a father.
Mm-hmm.
So it could be very twisted, the future faking too. That's what I've seen.
Yeah. Well, in the answers at the end, when they they promised it, then you got it. And then, oh, but that's not what I said. I don't know what you're talking about. So again, it's all part of the con, because I think that hook in the beginning is very much a con job. Again, coming to you with exactly what you're looking for, promising to be it, promising that they also want that. But I think that's such a red flag, that the similarities, like, I want them to have their own goals. I want them to go, this is what I want. I want us to be able to go, well, I'll give a little, you give a little. But with a narcissist, they morph into your story. So that's a red flag for people to be like, don't they have their own needs? Or
right. I know. I got a dog, and all of a sudden he got a dog when he was mirroring me and finding out in order to start, and love bombing, but just to get information, like you said, that was part of it.
Yeah. So one more part that I want to tip on in the it is how it feels, because if we're looking at how we identify them, we have to tap into how it feels to be with a narcissist. And I think it's different. I think it's different from the beginning, that idealized stage, to the devalue. How does someone feel in the idealized stage?
Like you're on drugs. Your dopamine levels in your brain are so high, you can't think straight.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I see. You're just on another planet.
You just feel like you're the luckiest person. How did I get so lucky to meet this person? I'm so blessed. You're just absolutely beaming, because again, they're giving you everything that you want. But then comes the devalue stage. What would you say? One word of the devalue stage, what would you say it would be?
One word that describes the stage? Like your breath is taken away every single second of every single day. You can't exhale anymore.
Yeah.
That's how I would describe it.
I would say confusing, because that they wanted this and now it's what? And you said you like that about me, but now you don't. It's very confusing. And so people need to see that confusion is not normal. It's like they were and they were this guy yesterday, but today this is the part that confuses me, right? So when you are presented with that, and sort of the the double-edged sword of, is it this or is it that? I'm confused. Those are signs that you're entering into that. They call you names, or you're not good enough, or whatever it is. It starts to be like, but you liked that about me last week, right? And so those are like a telltale sign that things are in that state because you're confused.
Right. And when you are confused in a relationship and you're talking about it a lot, it's not the right relationship. You know, people say, is this, can it, can this work? Can it? Probably not, if this is all you're focusing on and you're that confused, so something to know.
And then the last part is the discard stage. How do they feel in that?
That's tough, because that's another roadblock after the confusion. That is a lot more confusion, and it's a lot of blame. I see people really blaming themselves, very shameful. And of course the trauma bond, they can't, the dopamine drops, and they really have brain chemistry issues at that point from the relationship and from all the trauma. And that's very tough. And that's when you really need to reach out, because I think that's when the trauma bond is very apparent.
Yeah. And I think just the loss of self, most victims don't know who they are. They've been given everything to this person, and they've been isolated. They've lost their friends. They've lost their passions. So they just have this loss of self, but they also have they feel broken. They feel like unlovable. They feel like the self-blame. I did something wrong, like you just mentioned. These are the results of a narcissist, right? And absolutely the worst feeling in the world. So many people, I remember many years ago, I put a post in my Facebook group and said, has anyone ever thought of killing themselves over this? And within a half an hour, we had 300 people showing their slit wrists and their scars. Yes, I wanted to die. Yes, I wanted to die. It's not a good relationship if you want to die, or they put you in that place. And that part is manipulation, to think you had your soulmate and then the perfect person for the rest of your life, and then they rip the carpet out from underneath you, and you're standing there alone, naked in the street, scared to death, scared to move, unable to move, right? So those are the kind of feelings that I think, if we tap into understanding them, and if your friends are going through this, you will see that they want to die. That is not normal. That is something they need some real help for, because that means the trauma bond is so tight around their neck that they can't even imagine life without them. And yet they're the abusive, right? It's Stockholm syndrome, right?
Oh, there's no worse feeling. There's no worse feeling. And the fact that I went through this, and I could help people with that and say, it's going to be okay. I know you feel so bad. And it's like, you could only describe it as being brainwashed. And it could happen to the most intelligent people. And it's just something you can't put your finger on, but it's just there. And it's so covert, the brainwashing. And subliminal and all that.
It's again, we know how horrible it is, and your book helps people learn how to leave the narcissist, as well as identify them. There's so much amazing stuff in the book. I'm so excited to share it with the world. Is there anything that we missed in the book that you wanted to share?
I think we covered a lot of it. I mean, the healing part of it is really important, to get yourself back. And for me, that included taking care, the self-care, yes. And I'm not talking about taking long baths. So, the self-care, it includes so many aspects of your life. And if you just focused on you, and broke down what's important for a full and happy life, that's self-care. Self-care is organization. Self-care is an exercise. Self-care is eating healthy. Self-care is financial. Self-care is other relationships. Really nurture the other relationships in your life. And that's the direction that I think is important to go, is to talk more about the healing. And I don't see that out there as much, like just to break down, you know, what really is important. I became a health coach. That was one part of my healing. But you know, and all I would do is listen to relationship and watch and buy books about relationships and financial and go to conferences and just learn so much from this. And I am so happy that this happened to me so I could help other people, and it made me grow so much too.
And that's what the important thing is, to everybody know that this doesn't have to define you, but
Right.
definitely is going to change you. Trauma changes you, right? But that doesn't mean it's for the worse, right? You're going to be smarter. You're going to be much more resilient to, you know, putting up with somebody in this kind of behavior again. You're going to be, you know, stronger in your resolve of who you are. And those are the things that money can't buy, is the lessons from this horrible, horrible type of abuse. It sets you on a place to restart again and be the person that you were never allowed to be with a narcissist. So thank you so much for being here. How can people find you? I know we can buy the book on Amazon. Where else can they get it?
Amazon, Barnes and Noble. You could find me on everything's under drrobin.com, Dr. Robin, on my TikTok, Instagram, all the social media, YouTube, and on my website is where most of the information is.
We'll put a link down below so everybody can find you. I just wanted to hear you say it so we know. And I can't thank you enough. Your expertise in this shows in the book. You and Fred did an excellent job after each chapter going, this is what Robin thinks, this is what Fred thinks. And the male, female, and the both being victims, both being psychologists, it makes a difference to understand the whole dynamic, because men do get abused too, and we don't want to forget them. They get very angry when I have women's groups and they're not included, but I just want them to know that, you know, we understand that it happens on both sides of the table. And, you know, in many ways, I personally think female narcissists are worse because they have that extra cloak of, you know, I'm a good mother and I don't do that, you know. So it's a whole nother game. So thank you so much for being with me today. I really
Thank you, Tracy. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Well, I hope that was helpful. Isn't she great? I just love that she's so vulnerable to share that as a psychologist, she also was abused. This is, again, really, really common. And I can't tell you how many psychologist clients that I've had that, you know, feel like they should have known better. But narcissism is stealth, and narcissism is something that we don't see it until we see it. So thank you so much, Robin. I hope you all enjoyed it, got something out of it. If you are looking to figure out if you are with a narcissist, go to my website, narcissistabusesupport.com. We have thousands of pages. We have explanations. I even have a free ebook for who your narcissist is, if it's co-parenting, marrying, divorcing, relationships, family, siblings. I've got work. I've got free ebooks and pages that describe that. So checklists, yes, 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 no matter who it is, we've got the answers on our website with all of these free, wonderful downloads for you. So visit my website and I will see you again next time. Thank you again. This is Tracy Malone.